Hi, my name is Paul Friedman. I'm the founder of the Marriage Foundation. Hopefully you're a subscriber to this channel and learning more and more about marriage every day. And I hope you become one. Now this topic is kind of interesting. It's my husband makes me feel bad about spending money. Now there are definitely some extreme cases out there where husbands are just nuts about every penny. But I know that's not what you're looking for. So we're not going to go there. What we're going to talk about is actually something that is kind of good in a way. It doesn't feel good, I know, because you're feeling a lot of pressure, maybe even guilt, and maybe you're having to hide the money that you're spending, and even spending money on things you guys have to have. That happens. And I'm going to explain to you, first of all, why it's happening. And then I'm going to give you some ideas of things you can do about it. So the reason why it's happening is because, and you know this, even though current thinking is kind of weird about genders, but you know the truth is that men are men and women are women. And it's psychophysiological. It's how the body that we have, the gender, impacts the mind. It's different for men and women, and it goes all the way back to what we are biologically created for, because biologically our bodies are animal. Now we're not animals, we're souls. We have a body and we have a mind, but the body has a lot of influence on how we live our life. And your body is female, so your body is telling you to nest, to make things nice, comfortable, pretty. Make sure everyone is fed. Even before you're fed, everyone is taken care of. Make sure that your home is comfy. It's a biological urge for you to do that. Now your husband, and this is where the explanation is important, your husband's drive, and it's a drive to survive, is pushing him when he's married to be a protector, and your protector, and his family's protector in particular. And he doesn't use a lot of discernment. We don't, because we're not taught about free will and controlling our mind and mastering our mind. We're not taught. So we're kind of pushed around by the influences of our body, just as he is, just as you are. And he's pushed into being, to one degree or another, very concerned about making sure there's enough money. And what happens to a lot of men is they lose their discernment. They lose their perspective, and they don't realize that there's never going to be enough to satisfy the body's drive to survive. Because that drive to survive knows no limits. If there's an opportunity to gather some more, it wants to gather. And so that's what's happening to your husband. He is reacting to his body's drive to survive, to make sure there's always enough. And you could call it hoarding, you could call it being Scrooge-like, but that's what's going on. And sometimes it's weird, because sometimes he'll spend money on himself, but not on his family. It's so bizarre, isn't it? It shows how twisted up our minds get when we don't infuse love into the equation. And this I'm bringing up because this is where the solution lies. One of the attributes that your husband also has is the need to receive love from you unconditionally. This is actually a much deeply rooted need, because it's so connected to his soul. You see, the soul is just pure love. But men, their minds are in the way. And the way they work around that is by finding a woman who will love them unconditionally, so they could experience love vicariously through you, the wife. And the more you love him, the more you cultivate love, I'm not putting this on you, I'm merely explaining this, the more you cultivate love for your husband, the more you'll express it in different ways, the more he will lighten his grip on the money. So that's the general explanation. Now, what else do you do? Well, you don't take it seriously. You don't feel bad about taking care of your family by spending money. You have to spend money. It's just a practical thing to do. So when he complains about it, instead of becoming reactive, instead of getting into deep explanations, smile. Recognize what he's going through, and maybe you could even acknowledge it. You say, honey, don't worry. You're so good at making money. I could never spend as much as you make. Honey, you are the best provider. I'm trying to be careful, but you know me. I like to make things pretty. In other words, instead of putting up your walls of defensiveness, which is a free will choice, instead of doing that, look at him through eyes of compassion and understand why he's being so crazy about money. And on the other side, replace your reactions that are kind of protective, self-protective, replace those with open-hearted love. And watch what happens. It's going to be incredible. You'll see. This is kind of a psychological trick. Look, I don't believe in using Western psychology to heal marriages because it doesn't work. But it doesn't mean you can't use basic psychology to solve some of your own problems in your marriage. But the real solution for your marriage is to bring back into context the reasons you got married in the first place. Number one, you wanted to be happy by being with your soulmate for the rest of your life, and you wanted every day to be happier than the last. And the second reason, which is much more important, is you wanted to learn how to love unconditionally. And so your soulmate is the perfect person to learn on, you might say. And if that becomes the context of your marriage, these issues, these things are left in the dust. Happiness and love. Continue to develop more and more happiness and love in your marriage. And we can show you how. You should subscribe to this channel so you could learn. You could read articles, watch these YouTubes. You could go to our website. There's books, there's courses. We want you to have the happiest marriage imaginable. And right now, if you have this problem, you don't have it. So we can teach you how. I'm Paul Friedman. I founded the Marriage Foundation on these basic principles that happiness and love is what marriage is all about. Thanks for visiting. Hope you do again. God bless you, and take care.